to our podcast.
We Still Do.
We're going to do our first little episode. Am I right?
Yeah.
And to start off, we're going to share our testimony. We're going to talk about how we got started. First off, my name is Deontay,
And I'm Maymuna.
the beautiful Maymuna.
Okay. Oh, Lord. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to have all that going. So, a little bit about us. I'll let you start because, if I tell it, I'm going to tell it differently.
Okay. We'll go over there and get my little notepad. I'm a note taker. So we can start off with how we met. And Deontay and I are originally from San Diego, and we went to the same middle school down there, the other one with the butterflies on it. And yeah, we went to the same middle school. I was 11 years old at the time, and Deontay was 13, so we're 2 years apart. But we ended up in the same grade because I started school early, and then I also got put up a grade, so I was like ahead of the game. So we ended up in the same grade. I was 11, he was 13, and that's how we met. And then we became friends. We had a lot of mutual friends all the way up from middle school through high school.
Yes, we did.
And then what happened in high school?
Well, in high school,
Nothing.
nothing happened. We were friends. Like she said, we had mutual friends, and we were hanging out, but nothing came of it. No one ever tried to pursue each other. We were just friends. She did her thing, I did mine. And fast forward to college.
College, yeah. A year after we graduated. So we both graduated, went to different colleges, and then a full year after we graduated and went through college at separate colleges, then we ended up at the same junior college.
Right.
And I was like walking through the quad at this college, being the studious person that I am, going to the library.
So she says.
And Deontay was sitting in the quad. You know, he played football, so he was being the jock, just sitting in the quad, doing Lord knows what in the quad. And I walked by. What was that? Okay. And I walked by, and he was like, hey, we had a conversation or whatever. And at the time, he had long hair.
Bang.
And he knew that, like, I did hair, like, on the side or whatever. And he knew that I knew how to braid. So he asked me if I could braid his hair. And then that's how we ended up exchanging numbers.
Yep. I asked for them digits. When I asked, my plan was originally to get my hair done. And she was looking good, I admit. But I really did just want my hair done. But when she started coming over and braiding my hair, one thing led to another. She would I don't know, the way she would braid my hair was a little bit different, I guess you can say. She wasn't braiding my hair like anyone else.
No, Deontay.
No.
It was regular braiding.
You sure?
Anyway, so I started braiding his hair, and we just started spending more time together and kind of rekindled our friendship, because when we both had graduated high school, we really didn't stay in touch much after that. So it was kind of like we started rekindling our friendship, and then eventually we just couple months of that, and then we started dating.
Swept her off her feet. Started dating. We started hanging out more. At the time, she was still living in San Diego, so we would see each other all the time. Then she decided to up and move to Marietta, Menifee area, and we still would talk all the time. And she started driving all the way down. And
Yes, because I still worked in San Diego. So I still worked in San Diego. So like after work and on the weekends and stuff, I would still be in San Diego. And I remember when we first moved, because I was still going to school and I was finishing out my semester at school, and I was staying down in San Diego with one of my sisters. So I was still living in San Diego, even though my parents had moved and I was staying with my parents at the time. And at this point, I was 18, like turning 19-ish, and you were like 21.
Yeah, I was grown.
Right? Like 2021.
I was grown.
I was more grown than you, and I was younger than you. But anyways.
I was an adult.
So, yeah, we dated for a year. And because we just always had this friendship and this bond with each other, we kind of knew even before the year that we were going to get married. But we dated for a year, and then we got married. And now we've been married for almost 13 years. It'll be 13 years in October of this year. So,
Yep.
yeah, that's kind of just a little glimpse into our lives.
I love it.
And then my next little note on here is, what advice would you give to your single self? If you could go back and talk to your single self, what advice would you give to your single self now that you're married and you've been married for almost 13 years?
Oh, man. The advice I would give to my single self. First off, I would say it's not worth it. As far as anything outside of marriage, it's not worth it. If it has nothing to do with your wife, it's not worth it. Your wife is most important thing in your life at the time. I would also tell them to grow up faster than what I ended up growing up. I mean, it took me a while to grow up to be the man that I am. I would, advise him to, grow up faster and to be more responsible and be more open.
Maturity,
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's it. What do you think? That's not good enough?
No, I just was asking, is that it? If I could go back and give advice to my single self,
what would you say? What would you tell her?
I would probably tell her to wait until marriage to become sexually active. I just feel like, and you don't know it when you're young. And not that I was like out there just being crazy, but, Deontay wasn't my first. So it's like I feel like you have like soul ties and connections with people that, it's like that you have to break away from, or that you have to, break away from. When you are with someone else, it's like you've kind of given that person a piece of you, and then you kind of regret it afterwards. Like, I should have just waited.
In your face, sucker.
What does that mean? What?
I don't know.
Okay.
I wanna take that too, because I probably would tell myself that too.
Would you?
To wait.
Would you tell yourself
wait,
that?
wait for marriage.
Ah.
I don't know if he would have listened, but I would have told him
Well,
that
yeah. You know, yeah, but
because it would be a special moment.
yeah, and I mean, I feel like we're pretty like secure and, you know, solid in that area, but you know, just looking back on hindsight of how, you know, things could be better or things could be like smoother transition in the beginning or whatever, and it's like the less like baggage you have with you and that you bring into a relationship, I feel like the more open you are to being like with the person that you intend to like spend the rest of your life with, and just not like have any shame or any like guilt or, you know what I mean, like whatever. And I know some people don't feel that way, and it does have something to do with like your upbringing, your belief system, you know, how you were raised, what you were raised to believe, where you stand at now as an adult. I feel like that all takes part in how you live your life, and then how you work through your relationship and the different obstacles and troubles that you may have. But yeah, I think that's the main thing that I would tell my single self. I feel like I was a pretty okay single person. I wasn't doing anything too crazy, or I don't think that there's anything that you can really do too much to like prepare yourself for marriage, because every marriage is different and every person is different. And sometimes you just really have to learn and mature as you go. It's not always about, you know, like a 1, 2, 3 step plan and then you're going to have a successful marriage. Like, you really have to just take it day by day and be open to experiencing new things and experiencing challenges, but being able to work through them together.
Right. As a team. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Great answer.
Thanks. The purpose. So what is the purpose of us doing this podcast, starting this podcast? And I'll kind of let you talk about that more, because this is more of your passion and your vision. And I am kind of like supporting you in that. So I'll let you talk about what the purpose and what, you know, what your passion is or your inspiration behind wanting to start up a podcast, because there are a lot of marriage podcasts out there.
That is true. And if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably wondering, why is this one different than any other one? And the purpose of this podcast is really for couples who struggle, couples who are young or old, either way, doesn't matter. But we really want to focus on young couples, because us being a young couple and starting out young and going through all the trials and tribulations that we went through, we didn't really have anyone to look to for answers. We didn't have anyone to seek out or to get some insight. I mean, we did have a little help, but we didn't have things that we can turn to where it's like,
we didn't have people like in our age. We
Noth-
kind
yeah,
of looked
we had no one
to
in our
like
age.
older
we were the only
people
couple at our age
that was married.
that was married. And then anyone else that ended up being our age were just now getting married. So we had no one to
Right.
look to as
Who had
far
been
as
in it
like,
for a while.
yeah, because we
Yeah.
can say, you know, how did you deal with this? Or how did, you know, you have these issues? We had no one to look to. So the purpose of this podcast is for people to look to us, if you would like to, and get answers to everyday things that happen in marriage.
I don't think it's about people looking to us to get answers. Like, we're
Well,
not the
We're not
we're
the
not the answer
the-
know-it-all.
yeah, we
I
don't
think
know it
it's
all.
just about sharing our perspective and sharing our
Yeah.
views, and then just encouraging and inspiring other young couples that it is possible. And this is just some of the ways that we've worked through certain issues.
Yes.
Like, we know that our help and our strength and everything, all of our answers come from God. Like, we can't
Yes.
provide you guys with answers of this is what you should do, but we can definitely share our experiences and hope
Yeah.
that it helps someone or inspires
Yeah.
someone else.
God is definitely first in our marriage. And if you're going to listen to this podcast, you're going to hear a lot about God and what God has done in our marriage, because he is the founder of our marriage, and that is what our marriage is built on. So, like I was saying, the purpose is to just give insight and to, shine light. You may have some questions. You may want to know, how would a young couple deal with this? Because, just being honest, as young couples, it's not the same as an old couple. 40-year-old, 50-year-old couple is not going to handle things or deal with the same things that we deal with, because social media and stuff like that is different. For our generational marriage back then, it was just, basic stuff that was, going out and making it happen. Now you can, get caught up with social media, and, we want to share our insight and how we deal with things and how God brought us out of certain situations. And we want to make sure that we help out young couples, because we want to see marriages work. I truly believe that if you were married, that is a sacred bond that God has put together, and it's not meant for you to separate. And my wife knows divorce is not an option for us. We're going to make it work. Through death do us part is what I signed up for, and that's what I want to see for anybody. When you get married, there's no reason for you to separate. You should be able to make it work, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I do feel like sometimes there are like extenuating circumstances. Obviously, if you're like in an abusive or life-threatening situation, or your kids are put in a life-threatening situation, then of course you need to get out of that. But yeah, we do believe that divorce is not an option, at least for us, because we are not in such a detrimental situation that we're like, okay, we are like toxic to each other and we just need to separate. Because there are some relationships out there that are toxic, and it's probably better if you are apart. But yeah, we're just here to encourage, really, and just share a piece of ourselves and a piece of God with you guys to help you stay encouraged. And yeah, that's pretty much why I agreed to do the podcast with Deontay, is because I could tell that he was really passionate about it, and that
And she loves me.
and because I love him, definitely. But I could tell that it was something that God like really put on your heart to do, because Deontay can
Yes.
definitely be like, let's do this, let's do that, let's do, let's try this. Like he's very, what's the word? Don't be surprised that I said that. What's the word where you are, you're like an optimist. You're a very optimistic person. So you like to seize things in the moment.
Yeah.
Or I'm more of like, okay, let's sit back, let's plan this out.
Yeah. Let's take a
How
long
is this
time
gonna
before
work?
we started.
Well, yeah, whatever. I needed to pray about it and make sure that this was something that I was going to commit to doing, because if I commit to it, then I'm going to, I'm going to be committed to it. But I agreed to it, and I'm doing it, and I'm supporting you, and
Now we're doing
I support your vision, and I see your vision, and I understand your vision, and I understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So, are you done?
Thank you.
Okay. So, yeah, I do fully support you in this.
I appreciate you supporting me and coming along the ride of the We Still Do podcast.
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap it up on the first episode. Just getting to know us, and we hope you guys enjoyed it. Be looking for our next episode.
Yes. Next episode,
We're going to talk about,
we're going to talk about, let's see,
wait for it,
quality time.
quality time.
Quality time. Quote unquote us time. So we'll talk about how we plan for quality time, how we try to fit it in with both of our busy schedules and our children, and how much we value quality time in our marriage and feel like that it is imperative to having a successful, healthy marriage.
Yes. Most definitely.
So we'll see you guys next time. Talk to you next time.
See you guys next time.